Hello again. Well, it's been 4 years since we launched the Diversity Project, and I truly believe that we have reached breakthroughs in a number of different areas. We are now much more comfortable at talking about Black. We have people who are prepared to come out as gay in our industry when they didn't feel comfortable about doing so before. We have obviously smart working, different types of working, discussions about neurodiversity, and as we've just heard, mental health is a topic that freely is discussed now. So we've seen breakthroughs in so many areas, but if I'm honest, I don't think we've really seen progress around women in fund management. We have one of the largest gender pay gaps in any industry in this country, and we struggle to attract enough women right at the start of their career. There are, happily, a few more women who've made it to the top in our industry, and we celebrate that. But for very, very many women, the road is hard. And for many companies, it's also frustrating that they're not seeing as much progress as they'd like at all levels. Now, I came across this cartoon the other day, which for me rather summarized it, just how both men and women can feel rather frustrated about this whole topic of gender equality. So this much we know that we have tried hard, many companies and individuals have tried hard around this issue, that we've not been getting very far or very fast. And that with COVID-19, and it's obviously been something being discussed more broadly in society, there is a risk that gender equality actually goes backwards rather than forges ahead. So earlier this year, the Diversity Project decided to review what we were doing around gender, because frankly, we weren't confident, I wasn't confident that we were anywhere closer to a breakthrough than when we started. It just felt as if our efforts were off target, like kicking at a football goal, but just always missing. It doesn't matter how hard you shoot, you're not going to get the ball in if you're off target. A group of us took some time to reflect and went back to basics. We wanted to consider right from the start again, what were the real hurdles or obstacles that we thought were getting in the way of both attracting women to our industry and then seeing them fulfill their career potential. Now, as you would expect, there's no one single obstacle. That would make life a whole lot easier, but isn't the case. So we started to put all of these together on a page. We've got a Venn diagram now. We felt that there are obstacles when it comes to attracting women to the industry to start with, girls straight out of university and school leavers, for example, when it comes to retaining them, and also ensuring that women progress as far as they can and should progress in their careers. Now, we are also conscious that the economic environment, and particularly right now, the financial pressures on many companies, is another big topic. It's another big challenge, because when times are tough, we've seen some of the initiatives get abandoned or other priorities take over. Now, some of these obstacles overlap. And then there's a set right at the core of our firms, really around culture, around leadership, around management, around prioritization of this issue that really influence everything. Now, all of this might seem a bit daunting in terms of the number of things getting in the way of women progressing. But the reality is that we've got a fairly complex task on our hands at the Diversity Project, because we know we need to tackle a whole host of issues if we're really going to create an inclusive environment in what has been a traditional industry. As I've said already, there's no silver bullet. We have to be honest about this, and we have to address every obstacle. So in this case, having sorted these different hurdles into 3 main areas, we've come up with very targeted actions and divided that into 6 very focused subgroups within a newly relaunched gender work stream. We're also encouraging very strong collaboration with the other relevant work streams within the Diversity Project, smart working, working families, and returners. It's really important that all of this comes together and creates something bigger than the individual efforts. And then we've set really clear, very ambitious targets. Now, I know from the work of the 30% Club that having clear, measurable goals is key. Often it feels like we're getting somewhere because we're talking about it, but that's not the same as actually measuring progress against a target. So we've decided to have 2 ambitions. Firstly, we want to achieve at least 30% female fund managers in our industry. Now, fund managers are absolute lifeblood. They're the most powerful people often in firms, and it's very important while it's very important to have women at all senior levels in all the different roles, if we ended up with still only a tiny proportion of women in fund management, then I think we'd be falling short. Now, at present, we don't exactly know what proportion of our own fund management community, our member firms, is female. So I'm going to come back and ask for your help in that. You can use the app to help us. But we think it's around 10%. Secondly, we are aiming to halve the gender pay gaps in our industry by 2030. Now, as I mentioned, we have the second worst gender pay gaps of any sector, with a median hourly pay gap of around 30%. Sorry that the numbers are all 30% here. And that's a huge gender pay gap. And that metric represents, of course, all women at all levels compared with their male colleagues. So we really believe that we need a fresh start with new resolve, updated, more targeted actions. So, for example, I want you to watch this space for an exciting new podcast series where we're going to show women at different stages of their careers and people who perhaps haven't even thought of joining yet or considering joining but haven't joined, sharing their experiences, bringing it all to life. And hopefully you will also see and be involved in issues and initiatives like the elevation of line management as a valued success factor in our industry. I think historically people who work in fund management have often been promoted to a management position because they're good at their day job, they're good at managing money or they're good at marketing, not necessarily because they're good at managing people. And that really needs to change if our industry is to continue to improve its culture and become more thoughtful about managing diverse talent. I know many of you have signed up for one of the breakout sessions on this today. I think over half of those who have joined us today have signed up for one of those, which is great because we really need to work to elevate its importance. And finally, I have some specific calls to action if you are serious about wanting to see more women enter and thrive in your firm and in your teams. We want to ask everybody today, if they haven't thought of it already, and after they've heard the breakout sessions, to think about line management skills and how to reinforce or to start afresh in terms of conveying the importance of proper line management. We'd like you to all take a look at your own gender ambitions and plans. I think a lot of firms publish gender pay gaps and publish some plans around that, but it hasn't necessarily been refreshed properly. You haven't necessarily asked women for their experiences. Please do provide us with data around the numbers of your female fund managers. We need to know the number of the whole team so we can assess the proportion and create an accurate baseline for this whole industry. And you can do this via the app or write to us at info@diversityproject.com. Those of you who are members of different groups will already have been asked. I don't think COVID need be a setback for gender equality. As I said in my opening remarks, we need to resolve to create an opportunity, to make an opportunity from this. And I'm confident that if we work together on all aspects of this issue, we will get on target, we will see progress, and we will break the deadlock. Thank you for staying committed to solving this. I'd like now to pass back to Upi, who's going to introduce our next session. Thank you.